Sam, I am green eggs and ham. Live as a wire. Hello, folks. We are here for the predictions for AEW Dynasty 2024. Lots to get into. We've just come off WrestleMania, so now we're in sort of the hangover period of wrestling.
Yeah, lots of headaches.
Yep. Lots to talk about. A few things. I'll start with the positive. There is a good chance that I'm going to AEW World's End at the end of this year.
Ooh.
Because I've already was going on a holiday to Florida with my mum. And she said to me many months ago, she said, if there's a wrestling event on in Orlando or somewhere in Florida, then we have to try and get you there. And literally last week, they announced that World's End is going to be in Orlando. And so I said, well, can we start the holiday a bit early? It's been 5 days in Orlando instead of 2. Yeah, so that's possible. I could be going to that. On top of that, probably taking a photo outside the performance center as well, which would be insane. If for some reason the World's End plans go tits up, I'll probably go to an NXT taping. If tickets are available, obviously. But yeah, that's fun. Fun wrestling stuff. Yeah. So after the last pay-per-view, PLE, I should say, myself and Regan are co-champions, and he's not here. So I'm going to be defending one half of the predictions championship against you. And when we get to Backlash, we'll unify the belts.
Yeah. So it'll be a one-on-one match. First time not involving one of us.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah, one of us will just be like there to announce shit.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's a first. It'll be a first.
Actually, I'm just thinking at some point we've got to introduce the Money in the Bank into this concept.
I don't know how that's going to work, though. How would that work?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, like how, because we're not going to be watching every pay-per-view live on stream or whatever, because we can't. We physically can't.
I don't know, flip a coin. wins. Completely arbitrary.
What a shit way of doing that.
Yeah, that's possibly the worst idea.
No, oh, that's awful.
You know what is a completely stupid board game, and I don't understand why it's popular? It's Snakes and Ladders.
I guess because it's very basic.
No,
It's like
but
very
but do you understand that Snakes and Ladders has no input? It's all fate.
Yeah, it's rolling the dice.
Yeah, you can't control anything in the game. Everything will happen as the way it happens.
The only thing worse than that is like something like Candyland or whatever it's called.
Well, because it's Snakes and Ladders, but with food.
Or something. I can't remember what the actual rule, but what the rules were. But it's like even more basic. I feel like I remember. Yeah, it's like you roll. I think it's like you roll a colored dice or something, and then you land at the next one along the line, and that's it. I think that's even worse.
And it's also like, you know what kids are like with winning and losing. It's like they can't even control.
Because at least with Snakes and Ladders, there's the drama of if you do land badly, you could fuck yourself over badly.
Because here's the thing, right? People talk about like who is the best and the worst at certain games. Like if you compare, say, I don't know, a toddler to Magnus Carlsen at chess, the difference in their their experience level and their ability to win the game is worlds apart. Whereas there is no such thing as the world's best Snakes and Ladders player. Because everyone has exactly the same result, no matter what they do, because it's just how you roll the dice. I mean, unless there's someone out there that can somehow produce sixes with a dice or produce the number they want, like on hand, but I don't see how that's possible. You'd have to cheat. Like you'd actually have to have a cheating dice to do that. So that's not really skill. Anyway, AEW Dynasty.
Yeah.
So the word not word, but like sort of the phrase I've heard put out about this show is great, stacked lineup, but terrible build.
Yeah, I see.
Well, I don't think that applies to everything, but that just as an overall, I think people have said that the actual card looks great, but the TV build, a lot of the TV build up has been really lacking, and in some areas it's been really bad.
Oh boy, has it!
Although not all bad. There's a couple of good things that they've done recently. I would say mostly to do with the respective men's and women's world titles. There's some good stuff going for either of those, especially the men's. But yeah, the weekly TV product has been very up and down. In contrast to the Fed, who have been very consistently good for the most part. Outside of that weird, awkward thing that The Rock did with the belt, which I just still don't understand. I mean, I know that it's a reference to like 10 years ago when Cody wanted to hold his belt or something, but it was just so bizarre. But yes, I kind of, to some extent, I do see why that is the sentiment that on paper this show looks like a really good card, but there's just not much going on weekly TV, and some of the big acquisitions that have been recently hired have been sort of standing around not doing much, specifically Mercedes Moné being one of them. She's not really doing anything at all, which is a shame. Other good news, Ruby Soho is pregnant. Which is,
I saw.
with Angelo Parker, which is cool. Their storyline has ended up with an actual payoff in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. The graphic design looks cool. I hope the stage is cool. Usually AEW stages are pretty nice. Yeah. Without going into deep detail, sort of any thoughts going into this show?
I've not watched pretty much any of the build other than what went fucking crazy viral last week on Twitter. That's pretty much my investment in the show. Because everyone and their mother saw the backstage footage at All In last week, which was very cringe.
Yes, I think I watched, was it about 2 or 3 full episodes of Dynamite when they did the rebranding with the new logo and everything?
I actually don't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched an episode of Dynamite.
Surely it was 2023.
It probably was 2023.
Oh, well, you've definitely watched Collision in 2023 because of the CM Punk 3 months.
Yeah.
But in terms of Dynamite, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been a long time since I watched Collision.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, again, as I always say, this is a very stacked roster. Even with all the injuries they have, the card is still full of big stars. I think this, like a lot of shows, regardless of the fact that the TV stuff hasn't been up to scratch for a lot of it, I still think this show could be great, just purely based on the matches.
Could be very, very good.
You know, I mean, remember All Out last year? We went into it thinking, this is a bit strange. 1 week after the stadium show, the card's looking a bit weird. And then we watched the show, and it was like one of the greatest pay-per-views front to back they've ever done. And it's kind of, I've said this before in the AEW reviews, it's like, Tony Khan is very lucky because sometimes when the booking isn't going as well, which recently there has been a bit of that, he just has this roster that can just do a show on the just on the spot. They can just do a great show without even having much of his input.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think a good example of this is Full Gear. Full Gear had some really bad booking on it, but the matches all round were just excellent. And that just kind of carried the show, really. Anyway, shall we start talking predictions?
Yeah.
Well, we have one pre-show match announced.
Yep, and yeah.
The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus Bullet Club Gold to unify the trios titles and the six-man titles. Jay White still on the pre-show, just like last time. Seemingly can't get out of a rut. Unfortunately, the Acclaimed have lost their charm recently. I think they need to turn heel again.
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Yeah. And what they probably should do is finally end the daddy ass stuff. I think it's been long overdue of concluding.
I think we need Billy Gunn back. And I think the Acclaim needs to turn heel. Or, at the very least, Max Caster needs to turn heel. I think Anthony Bowens could still get over as a babyface, but if you're going to keep them together, turn both of them.
Yeah.
Bullet Club Gold are great talents, and their vignettes and their segments have been really fun. I have predicted them to win. I think Juice Robinson's going to do a run-in. I think he's almost... I mean, I don't know how long he's got until he can wrestle, but I've just got this funny feeling that he's going to do a run-in and they're going to win the match. And this is going to send the Acclaimed on a spiral now that they've lost these belts. And I know that I think Will Ospreay says he wants to retire Billy Gunn. So maybe they can do something to like dissolve this whole thing. That's my take on it. I think Bullet Club Gold winning is the sensible decision here. Because they need a win and the Acclaim need to do it, they need a shake up. They need something else.
Yeah.
Your prediction?
My prediction is... I don't know. I think this could go either way, realistically, but I've gone for Bullet Club Gold.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got no much investment in this match at all. Jay White's been unfortunately been on a run that isn't suited to the ability that he has.
He's been on the back burner.
Yeah, since
the Continental Classic.
Even since Full Gear, it's kind of been a bit of a slow downward trajectory, and then after the Continental Classic, it's been an even steeper decline, which is really annoying because a year ago he was one of the most sought out talents once his contract with New Japan was ending.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's doing pre-show matches, and it's really weird.
This is Kiwi racism right here.
So it's like when people saying it's like when people saying stuff like Rhea relinquishing her belt is like filled with misogyny, which is
they said the same thing because you remember back in 2022 when CM Punk had to relinquish the title, it got TV time in the ring, and then Thunder Rosa very shortly after he had a backstage interview doing the same thing. And then they asked Tony Khan, and he's just like, "Oh, I put on the show what I think will draw ratings."
Yeah, you can't. Realistically, you probably shouldn't do the exact same segment twice.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that people attach gender to that. I think it's more a case of CM Punk is just a better promo and a bigger star than Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, exactly. He is. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Thunder Rosa's main appeal is her aura, her presentation, and her in-ring talent, not her talking.
People seem to forget also that 3 months is quite a long time in wrestling.
Yes.
It is and it isn't, because 3 months, like, compared to most injuries, like, it's not bad, but when you're a champion, 3 months is quite a while.
3 months is just a long weekend for Roman Reigns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully both of these teams, because I really like the Acclaimed and I really like Bullet Club Gold, so I want them to figure out how to excavate them from the dump.
It's just a stinky run at the moment.
That's right. The next match is the one that you could potentially argue probably should have been on the pre-show instead, but I think they didn't do that because it has bigger stars in it. We have Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black. I think this will be fun.
Right.
I think this will be fun. And I think the reason why this match is happening is because Adam Copeland has a lot of creative control in AEW. He basically just says to Tony Khan, I want to wrestle these guys. And I think he just said, I want a match with the House of Black. And then he decided, well, we're going to put Eddie and Mark Briscoe with you because they have mutual respect after their ROH title match.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I gather from it. I think this will be fun, but in my opinion, the sensible option is to have the House of Black win so that they can individually challenge Adam Copeland for the TNT championship going down the line. Because I think he probably wants to have singles matches with all of them. If they allow Malachi Black to have a singles match, that is. It seems like he's just not allowed to.
He had one recently.
But yeah, I predict the House of Black to win this. It's a bit of a risky choice, but because, you know, it's the team that doesn't have Adam Copeland in it. But I just think that is the way to go.
Yeah. I've gone the opposite because I think they'll probably just have the champions win. Make him look good.
Yeah, because Eddie's still the New Japan Strong Champ, right? Is that correct? I think he is.
Yeah. Well, he's not Continental Champion.
No, because that's Okada.
Found out.
That's Okada. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that happened.
I sent a message to you when Okada won it. I just don't think you saw it.
Then I just completely forgot. I think I just completely forgot.
The crowd gasped when it happened. They were like, "Whoa!" Yeah. And Mark Briscoe obviously is the ROH World Champion now. And yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
it makes sense for them the champions to win.
Feel good tag match that has no stakes. The babyfaces go.
I hope that Mark Briscoe isn't the one that gets pinned because he just won the belt.
Because, and in my mind, I don't think they're going to have 2 3-person tags and have both the heels win. Just because I've gone for Bullet Club Gold.
Oh, that is a good point, actually.
Team. So I've gone for Team Copeland.
Yeah. Maybe they'll injure Buddy Matthews' shoulder and he can spend time with his wife.
Maybe.
Aussies. All right, then. So we've gone different ways. I'm sure this match will be fun, though. I like all the guys involved a lot.
Sure.
I'm sure Brody King will squash Mark Briscoe with his big tattooed meat. Also, you might. This is a bit stupid, but politically, you might think House of Black are going to lose because CM Punk praised them in his Ariel Helwani interview. Oh yeah, actually, we should probably talk about that Adam Copeland promo on Dynamite when he defended AEW.
Oh, that happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
After Mania.
Yeah.
Or after the Punk interview.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all right.
I mean, I get from his perspective why he loves AEW because he gets to do what he wants to do. I understand from his perspective.
And that's cool. But
it's not just about what he wants. It's also about everything. It's the whole
It just comes
situation.
across as really insecure.
Yeah, from Tony Khan it does, yeah. He can't take it. He's not very good he's not the best at shit talking, Tony Khan. He's a little bit of a I don't want to be mean-spirited, but he's a bit of a geek. He doesn't really know how to shit talk. Like, if he had a spokesperson that could actually come up with some good lines, then that would be better. Because as much as Tony Khan does a lot of good things, he's not a very cool person, if you get what I mean. He is very nutty. Anyway, speaking of bad, let's talk about Hook versus Chris Jericho.
Oh, why is this match happening?
I really like Hook, but I fucking hate that he's been thrown into the vortex.
The Jericho vortex. Hasn't Jericho like he's what's it fucking called? I guess it's completely gone from my mind, but he's like claimed like two phrases now, two terms, like the learning tree, whatever the fuck.
He
that
thinks
means.
he's some kind of Jedi or something. He thinks he's a fucking Jedi of the ring.
Right. And the other one is like what's the Jericho vortex or whatever. I feel like that was another one that he claimed.
Yeah, probably because
recently.
people are memeing about it, yeah.
Oh god, fucking just end me. Oh god, it's so embarrassing.
I saw one of the AEW accounts make a satire tweet about how Triple H should hire Chris Jericho. It's obviously just saying that so he can fuck off. Yeah, this is it's quite a sickly joke to say this, but he's like the in-ring equivalent of a pedophile because he always feuds with the youngest guys, and he's like he's so much older than them. And I say that because it's always a detriment to them as well. You know, you've got like Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara, bloody MJF. Now we've got Hook. Bloody, who else has there been? There's been so many. Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
That's what he does. Feuds with all the young boys.
This is what he does.
I mean, I think I've heard... I can't remember who it was, but someone described him as a bit of like a leech in the sense that he always like, oh, what's the next hot young star that I can...
It's the
vibe
right now.
What is it like? He goes, what's the next hot young star that I can feud with so that I stay over? Like, that's his mentality.
Yeah.
He just needs to go away and be a part-timer. Genuinely, he'd be so much more interesting if he only turned up every now and then. Because he's just so he's stale and has nothing new to say or do. Anyway, I predict Hook to win because that's the only suitable solution. The only way I could see Jericho winning this is if Jack Perry runs in, which is possible. And then Jericho can feud with Jack Perry and have another feud where he drains all the momentum out of a young star.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's now saying that Jack Perry is going to be about to break out into a major star now. Say the Young Bucks.
Maybe he will do that. Yeah. Anyway, what's your prediction?
Maybe he will.
What's your prediction for the Hook match?
Oh, Hook wins, hopefully, but that's more out of just hope.
Yeah. Actually, now that
if Jericho wins the FTW championship, I actually will lose my fucking mind.
He was in ECW at the start, 95-ish. You wrestled a guy named Juventud?
Yeah, hopefully Hook wins.
You know how people say that wrestling is in a boom period right now? I feel like within that boom period, Chris Jericho is the valley. He is the nadir. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with him. He's staler than bloody bench cheese. I just want to move on because I can't be fucked. Let's talk about a match that I'm actually looking forward to: Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly for the international title.
I didn't know this match was happening.
Oh, yeah, boy. Now this should actually be really good because both these guys are great and they have a long history in the Undisputed Era. Now this is a bit of a risky choice. I'm picking Kyle O'Reilly to win, and it's my Androzani pick, just in case.
Oh, that's funny because I've gone for Roderick Strong.
Yeah, I know it's not a great, like, it's not likely, but I am projecting Roddy to be a transitional champion here.
Really? That's
yep.
So even before the Kingdom, the United Kingdom, yeah, actually gets fully going realistically.
Yep.
What a great run! I thought about this again the other day, but just like I understand if Kyle wasn't, like, they didn't know if he was going to be cleared or not by the end of the last year, but if they had some inkling that they knew he was going to be back at some point in the next couple of months, just make him the devil. Just make him the devil. It would make so much more sense.
It would have been an all-timer.
More interesting.
It would have been an all-timer.
It would have been an all-timer way to end the year.
Yeah.
And now that, don't get me wrong, him coming back, I'm so happy he's back because Kyle O'Reilly is generally bloody great.
Here's the difference, though. I'm happy for him that he's back, but if he was the devil, I'd also be happy for AEW as well.
Exactly, yeah. And keep Cole as the face. Keep him as the face, because I've said my piece on it already many times that I think the Cole heel turn completely fucking ruins the story of MGF and Cole. So, but yeah, I've said my piece on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sad.
It's just as bad as the Jimmy turn, but you know.
Yeah. Oof. But yeah, I'm going with the risky business here. Kyle O'Reilly, Androzani pick. This should be a great match, though. These two lads know what they're doing. So for the TBS Championship, we have, it's weirdly like despite the fact that this is a championship match, this is weirdly also a number one contenders match as well, because Mercedes Moné gets to face the winner of this at some point. We have Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. So this is a bit of a weird toss-up in that Julia Hart does have a minor injury, but she's still able to wrestle. She is the heel. However, Mercedes has beef with Willow. But at the same time, I would find it weird if Willow won the belt and then immediately lost it. So, I've gone for Julia Hart to win. I think what they're gonna do is Mercedes versus Hart, and then Willow will challenge Mercedes at some point, maybe the next pay-per-view or whatever. Like Double or Nothing. But I'm not sure. I'm not certain where they're going with this. But I'm going to choose Julia Hart because I've sort of thought of the options, and I just think booking-wise, making Willow a transitional champion would be an odd choice. I say that despite the fact that I literally just said Roddy Strong's a transitional champion.
Isn't Hart the champion? Isn't Julia Hart not the champion?
Yeah, she is. She is the champion.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Nightingale's transitional as she was current champion.
No. I'm talking about the situation where she wins this match and then loses to Mercedes very shortly after. Because I don't think that Mercedes will lose her match. I think she will win the title.
Right, okay.
And as I said, if Willow won it here and then lost it immediately to Mercedes, I just think that would be a strange choice.
Yeah. It makes more sense to have Hart win. Then drop the belt to Mercedes.
I think it makes more sense to have Hart win here, Mercedes wins off Hart, and then Willow challenges Mercedes and tries to chase the title. I think that makes more sense to me. That's why I predicted Julia Hart to win and retain.
Yeah. Same here. I've also gone for Julia Hart.
Yeah. I don't know how much she's healed from her injury, but I think this match has potential. They seem to be compatible types.
Yeah.
Willow can do a big pounce and Julia can go flying. All right, let's talk about a match that, oh my god, I am looking forward to this. We have for the, I think it's, the Continental Championship, we have Kazuchika Okada versus the Bastard Pack. Holy shit, this should be a spectacle, hopefully.
Should be pretty good.
Yep. Okada, I have to win. I think it's just... Yeah, it just makes sense. But I think the match should be a killer. It should be great.
Hopefully it'll be good. Should be good.
Yeah. I'm hoping that on pay-per-view, Okada really steps it up in ring, like he shows his New Japan level talent. Because on TV, he doesn't do it. On TV, he's been doing a lot more of like the sports entertainment heel shtick, which is fun. But I'm hoping that when it comes to like the really big matches, that he actually shows why he's, the Rainmaker.
Yeah.
He is actually, I will say, even though AEW has been troubled lately, he's actually been one of the major highlights. Okada's been great. You can tell, though, he is definitely adjusting to the American TV style. Like, when he won the belt, the pyro went off and he was surprised. He thought it was someone coming out to, like, someone, like, entering the ring, but then he realized that actually it was for him. But yeah, there was a match, I think it was the match he had with Eddie. He like dropped him on the floor on the outside and then he laughed at him very evilly. But yeah, should be great. Oh dear. AEW World Tag Team Championships ladder match for the vacant belts.
The heat on this match. Oh boy.
Yeah, the belts that Sting and Darby vacated. We have, for the fourth time in AEW, the Young Bucks versus FTR. Now, this, to me, is the absolute example of what I often say about Tony Khan and AEW, is that in ring, this is a ladder match between these two teams. This should be an amazing match in ring, right? You'd think it's Young Bucks FTR in a ladder match. I can imagine it will be anything other than excellence would be surprising. But there is one major issue with this feud, and that is the fact that they aired the all-in footage and it was really stupid.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
I just don't really want to talk about anything involving the build up to this match. God. The report, it's the funny thing with the reports that came out after that it was all Tony's idea.
Oh, it absolutely, I can see that 100%.
But the Bucks not wanting to do it at first, but eventually we're like, it could get us heat and build the match. And then all anybody talked about was the actual footage rather than the actual build.
Yeah, it did the opposite of what he wanted.
Yeah. It was just a stupid idea. Really dumb idea.
Yeah, you know what? You know what's one of the reasons why? I mean, there's many reasons why it's dumb. Using footage of someone who's not in your company anymore and is actively promoted in the competition is weird. But here's another thing, right? They also didn't name him, so it's like the characters involved. We know who they are, but it's weird. They're weirdly not acknowledged. The other thing was, this is the part of it that really irks me, is that this is a real fight that happened backstage. Like, it's real. This is not part of the show. This is something that happened in real life as a disagreement, right? It is now being presented in the realm of kayfabe. So you are witnessing this fight as part of the storyline now. It is the real events are now being made kayfabe by the story. But the issue is, in kayfabe, we see much, much worse fights happen all the time backstage between wrestlers. And so the audience is only going to receive this in the character sense. What they see is CM Punk, a guy they like, choke out Jack Perry, a guy they don't like. You know, a heel, a babyface choking out a heel, and being an anti-authoritarian against the boss and walking off. This is like the kind of thing that the Steve Austin character would have done in the Attitude Era all the time and would have gotten cheered for it. And obviously everyone knows that that footage is real and the storyline isn't. They know that, but when you're presenting it within an arena on a TV show like it becomes part of the kayfabe, and therefore people are going to react to it as if it is kayfabe. It didn't get Jack Perry over. It didn't get the feud over. All it did was get CM Punk over, who doesn't work there anymore. So it is an absolute own goal by Tony Khan. And I can say that because he owns a football club, so he knows everything about football. That was an absolute own goal. He fucked up badly. I think this might be, from a booking standpoint, the worst thing he's done. There's things in AEW that have been worse, that are more serious, that aren't to do with booking, like the Matt Hardy incident, for example. That's because of a concussion issue mid-match. But if we're talking purely creative decisions, I think this might be Tony's biggest blunder of all time. I can't think of anything worse than this. Like, even putting Brandy Rhodes out there against Dan Lambert was better than this. At least they got some kind of reaction, some kind of heat that was to do with the actual show. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Nightmare Collective had Luther pull funny faces. You know, that has a positive to it. What they've done here is they've taken one of AEW's greatest all-time feuds with the Young Bucks versus FTR, and they've basically injected a lethal dose of poison.
Yeah.
And now this amazing feud, which could end up with an amazing ladder match, is now going to be completely tainted because of CM Punk. And that whole bullshit. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's my take on that shit. And it was sad seeing FTR out there playing the role of, oh, we should move past this. And we're like, yeah, we know. We've known for 7 months. If they had played that footage, like, let's say they played that footage on the Collision after All In, that might have actually been a reason to show it. Like, if Tony Khan had said,
oh, yeah,
at the show, this happened, showed the footage and said, this is why I fired CM Punk, I would understand that, and that could have actually gotten some real heat. But showing it now, when everyone has, like, gotten over it, like, we've all moved on from this. CM Punk is in WWE, AEW is without him. That whole business is behind us. He's explained himself on Era Hawani. We know what's happened. Yeah, seeing the footage, maybe we see more details that he didn't explain, but who fucking cares? It was just the wrong place and the wrong time, and it's severely damaged a build to what was actually a really, really well-regarded feud. And also, let's not forget, we talked about this in Revolution, the Young Bucks characters this year have actually been really strong. Their repackage as the EVPs, their characters have been great, and their whole feud with Sting and Darby was amazing. But now with this whole CM Punk nonsense being regurgitated, it's just made things so bizarre. And someone asked Tony Khan, like, why did you show that? And he gave, like, fucking 5 paragraphs as to why he showed it, and it just screams desperate ex-boyfriend wants ratings to me. That's what I see out of this. Tony Khan is in a lot of strain because he's in a year where he's trying to negotiate TV rights deals, and he's getting steamrolled by his competition. Triple H has been doing some all-time great stuff at the moment, and WrestleMania 40 was a massive success. So AEW has really been left in the dust, and in the grand scheme of it. Now, that's not to say that they can't do good things, because they can and they have done, but doing stuff like this is not going to create buzz. It's just going to make you look inferior. It's going to make you look desperate and insecure. And I think Tony Khan needs to hand off some of his responsibilities to people who can actually do the company some respect. Because despite being, a 41-year-old man, he comes across like a petulant teenager sometimes when he does shit like this. A message board troll. And also, he needs to get the fuck off Twitter. Jesus Christ.
Please.
What was it? He did that whole thing where he's like, all these WWE E-drones, I hate them to my soul. Mate, you're literally your family has like multiple billions of dollars. You're the owner of an NFL team, a Premier League football team, the second biggest pro wrestling company in the USA. You got nothing to worry about, man. Stop giving a shit what trolls on Twitter care about. Don't read it. Don't watch it. Don't listen to it. Just do your job. You fucking mark! Anyway, I predict the Young Bucks to win this. Because FTR won the last match.
Oh, that's funny, because I've gone for FTR.
Well, that's interesting, because you predicted Young Bucks to win, and you were wrong about that.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I think Jack Perry's going to return, and he's going to fuck over FTR. And then Adam Copeland and FTR are going to face the Bucks and Jack Perry. I mean, to be fair, the Okada factor is also there. So I'm not sure how it's all going to play out, but... regardless, I predict Young Bucks, you predict FTR.
I do.
You do realize that this makes, if they win this, that makes FTR 3-1 in this series, because the Young Bucks only won the first match.
That's true.
Anyway, keep your choice, because I think you're wrong. Let's move on before you change your mind. Timeless Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa. This has a 2-year history to it. Because if we remember correctly, before the whole Timeless era, Tony Storm, and even before the Outcasts, when Thunder Rosa got injured and had to vacate the title, Tony Storm became the interim champion. And then she became the actual champion.
Weren't they? Before she got injured?
I think they did face each other. I can't remember, though.
Rosa.
Oh no, sorry, no, they were going to, but
yeah,
they didn't.
They were at All Out of that year in 2022. She was due to defend it against Tony Storm.
Yeah, and then they did the Fatal 4-Way, and that's where Jamie Hayter got mega over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who I sorely miss, by the way. I hope she's back by.
Yeah, she is.
I hope she's back for Wembley.
Yeah. Yep, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné at Wembley would be insane. That match could be amazing. Anyway. This has a 2-year build to it. Tony Storm has been through multiple repackages since. Thunder Rosa has had somewhat of a repackage. I definitely think star power-wise, she's definitely lost a lot of what she had in the past. I think Thunder Rosa feels like as much of a main eventer as she used to, and it's taken a lot of work to get her sort of into this position. It's almost like without Britt Baker as her opponent, Thunder Rosa doesn't feel complete, because that's kind of what really got her over in the first place. But regardless, I have gone with Tony Storm to win this. I think they are telling a very specific story with her and Mariah May, and it's important for her to stay as champion for that story to play out.
Yeah, I've also gone for Tony Storm. Keep the belt on her. Doesn't make sense to take it off her at the moment.
Yeah, if I were to dream fantasy book All In, I would have Mercedes versus Jamie for the TBS title, and I'd have Tony versus Mariah for the women's title. But that's just how I would go with it. You could flip that around a bit. You could have Tony and Mariah be without the belts.
Yeah, I think while I guess you can sort of compare it to like MGF Cole last year, but I think Cole and MGF are on levels above, like in comparison to each other. Then while comparing it to like Mariah May and Tony Storm, I think there's a little bit of a gap even now. Even if the story is like can be well built and well done, I think the match, if Jamie's back and cleared, Storm and Hayter, I think is the match to do it all in.
Yeah, because they also have it. They also have history too.
Exactly, and I think Jamie Hayter beating Storm at Wembley, I think would be an all-timer moment for
That's
the
true.
company.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, if that's not the case, Mariah May is British, so there is that option as well.
She is. I think when you compare her to other wrestlers in the company, she still is very new.
That's
and
true.
She needs to build her stock up.
The other
so I feel like she
alternative
needs to be given time.
The other alternative is they could have, like you say, Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm, and they could also do Mercedes versus there's a selection of people that they could have her against, but I think Mercedes TBS champion makes sense to me. I think that is her natural path going forward. Yeah. And I assume she'll probably have matches with, I mean, I don't really know if they're gonna have Saraya on the next All In, because she had a moment last year. Maybe on the pre-show she'll have a mixed tag with her brother. That's possible. Who knows? Or with Harley Cameron. Regardless, I've chosen Tony Storm to retain. Do you also concur?
Yep. I concur.
Yeah. Things have gotten very sexual with Tony Storm lately. A lot of kissing.
Lots of lesbian kissing.
And also, Mariah's tag partner from Stardom also came out on Dynamite and kissed her as well.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, hot lesbian action is the other thing Tony Khan's doing to get ratings. It's literally turning into WCW under Vince Russo. Nah, it's not exactly like that. We're not seeing Judy Bagwell on a pole matches or, Viagra on a pole match or anything. Viagra on a pole match, bro.
My word.
Anyway, let's talk about what should be the match of the night. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably what in-ring, this is what I'm most looking forward to on this show. Because these are two of the greatest in-ring workers of this generation, if not all time. I think this could be a 5-star classic. And I'm so happy it's happening.
Definitely could be. Probably will be.
Yeah. The only thing that is a little troubling, maybe, arguably, is that Will Ospreay did that little promo backfiring at Triple H, which I don't know how to feel about that. It doesn't feel as bad as the other stuff they've done, like the CM Punk footage. Definitely, it's not on that level. I think there is. I think if that was the only thing on that show that was firing at WWE and everything else was not that, I think it would be a lot more palatable. But because it came straight after the Punk footage, it just felt like, ugh, God, this whole show is just reacting. But what was it? Will Ospreay said, "Oh, you say that I don't have the grind. Well, you've been grinding on the boss's daughter." Whatever that means. Anyway, regardless, this should be a great match, and I predict Will Ospreay to win. Because
also going for Ospreay.
Because I think Will Ospreay challenging for the world title at Wembley is a really good idea. Whether or not that'll happen, I don't know, but I think it's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he just wants to retire Billy Gunn instead. Will Ospreay versus Billy Gunn. That'll be a strange match. Yeah, any other thoughts you have on this going into it?
No, this is just going to hopefully be a very good match. Hopefully, Will can just slightly level back the cringe just a bit of that recent promo. I love Will, but I'll call out when I think he does something that is a bit silly, and his promo was a bit silly.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it wasn't his idea, but he was enthusiastic about doing it.
I thought it was his idea.
No, it was pitched to him and he liked it.
Okay.
So technically, he was in favor of it, but
yeah,
it wasn't him that came up with it.
Sure.
But, like, I think it was probably someone, I don't know if it was Tony or if it was someone else, said, "Oh, Triple H called out, basically without naming you, called you out." And Ospreay was aware of this, and he said, "Oh, you should fire back and use your, your sense of humor to really like get yourself over." And I think Will was kind of like really like, "Oh, that sounds great." But and as I said, if that was the only WWE reference on that episode, it may have been easier to stomach. But because, as I said, it came straight after the Punk thing, it was like the worst timing possible to make a WWE reference. And you could see like Renee Paquette as well. She like put her head down when he said that. She's just like, oh dear. Because she's really good friends with Stephanie and Triple H. So yeah, that's awkward.
Yep. But yeah, Will Ospreay.
Oh, the other thing, I hope that Nigel McGuinness is on commentary for this match. Brittle Danielson. So, let's talk about the main event. Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship.
Yes.
Now, this, from what I've seen, this has actually been a really good build-up of a feud. They actually have done this justice. Unfortunately, it's been overshadowed by the controversy of the other stuff going on the show. But if you just look at this feud in isolation, they've done a pretty good job with it. Long term. I think that this is the time to put the belt on Swerve Strickland. I think this is it. Joe's had a nice little reign since World's End. He's carried the belt with respect. He's been a good champion. But he's not in his prime. And Swerve Strickland is. And I think now is the time to crown the new king of AEW. I predict Swerve Strickland to win, and this is my Genesis pick. I think this will be the main event of the show. I'm willing to risk predicting him winning to get 4 points out of it. And I'm looking forward to the match as well. I think it should be good fun. I suppose the only example where maybe Swerve doesn't win is if Hangman does a run-in. Because Hangman's not on this show. I assume because he's injured? Anyway. Your prediction and thoughts on this match.
Not watch much of the build, just because my interest in AEW is at an all-time low. But I want Swerve to win the belt. I want Swerve to be champion, because Swerve Strickland is bloody awesome. And probably now is the time. I think Joe has had a decent reign, good 4-month reign, good defense at the last pay-per-view. But I think Swerve should win, and then eventually, when Hangman returns, we possibly get a match of either at Double or Nothing, or if he returns after that, at All In.
Yeah.
I think that's on the card. So I've also gone for Swerve Strickland, and this is not only my Genesis pick, but my Androzani pick.
Oh my word, is this the first time we've done this? Where it's both?
I feel like I think there's got to be one time we've done it once before. Surely.
Well, I know that the other way around has happened with the Genesis and the Adrozani from each other's choices have collided.
Yeah.
But this is
Mm-hmm.
the first time I feel like it's been one person has chosen one match as both of their picks.
I've gone big.
So you're slicing my victory in half.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh, no, hang on. You're not. Because you're choosing it to be my Androzani as well as me choosing it to be my Genesis. Therefore, it is an 8-point deficit for me. If I get it right, I get 4 points. If I get it wrong, I lose 4 points. That's massive.
So if Joe retains, that is a massive deficit.
-4 for me. Holy shit.
It's possible they could hold it off. It's very possible.
And then if you get this right, you get 4 points, assuming it's the last match on the show. Holy shit.
If it's not, then it'll be just 1 and then 2 points.
So yeah, if we both get if Swerve wins, we both get +4. If Joe wins, you get 0 and I get -4. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Swerve better fucking win.
And that will mean the other results will matter. But if Joe retains, it doesn't matter because I think we've only picked like 3 matches that are different.
Yeah, probably
3 matches, 3 or 4 matches. I can't remember.
All right, let's up the ante.
I think it's 3.
Let's up the ante. Does Jack Perry appear on this show?
Yeah. Ooh. Well, because I've gone for FTR, I'm going to say no. It wouldn't make sense for me to say yes, unless he turns up in another match, but I don't think he will.
For Chaos, I'm going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm right about that, to be honest. I'm not confident. I feel like he's still going to stay in New Japan for a bit longer. But he could. I think Jack Perry will be back by Forbidden Door. Because that's when the New Japan show is happening. Actually, you know what? I'm changing my answer. It's no. He's going to appear I think he'll appear at Double or Nothing, not this show. So that's pointless. We both chose a no. Damn. Well. Oh, that was quick. AEW Dynasty predictions. Again, it could be a really good show, but man, how the mighty have fallen. Do you remember back in 2021 and early 2022 when AEW was like miles better than WWE? Like by far. It was.
Yeah.
There was a few, I think once you got to like when around the time Cody came back, there was a few bright spots in WWE, I will admit, even with Vince in charge. You know, there was some good stuff on Mania 38, and, you know, some of the Cody stuff was actually quite good then. But 2021, though, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. That year, outside of the respective main events of WrestleMania, which were actually great that year, 37. A lot of that year in WWE was awful. The first half had, you know, bloody Zoom call screens on a wall. And then the second half of the year had some utterly tragic booking. Bloody Finn Balor falling off the top rope because God stopped the demon or something. Do you remember that? Is that like the worst tribal chief moment?
Oh boy,
It's one, I'd say it's one of them. You had Roman and Brock have that stupid steel cage match in Saudi Arabia. I think it was. Or was it a cage match? No, I think it was just a normal match. And the cage match was when he was the big dog. Yeah. The cage match was in like 2018, many years earlier. At Greatest Royal Rumble. And then they also had, what was it, 2021? They had Nikki ASH win the title, cash in Money in the Bank that year. That was Nikki ASH. They had Karrion Kross with that stupid fucking gimp suit and lose to Jeff Hardy in his debut. And then that was also the year they started NXT 2.0 with the vomit rainbow colors. Jesus Christ. That was some dark times. They had Edge feud with The Miz. Why?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you next time for the AEW Dynasty review. I've noticed there's been some traction on my tier list for the WrestleMania main events. Go check that out if you haven't. And at some point in the future, I may or may not be doing another one that was suggested by one of the championship holders on this channel. You'll have to wait and see. Yeah. I bid you adieu. Good night. And goodbye. Bang.